An ordinary decision like picking lunch can be quietly influenced by what sits first in line. People often choose the option that appears most convenient without much thought. This phenomenon is known as the mere exposure effect in psychology. It suggests that familiarity can lead to preference, even without conscious awareness. Such subtle influences can shape choices in various aspects of daily life. Understanding these effects can help individuals make more informed decisions. Awareness of such biases can also aid in designing more user-friendly environments. For instance, in retail, placing popular items at the back can increase sales of less obvious options. Recognizing these subtle influences can empower people to take control of their choices. By being mindful of such effects, one can make more deliberate and intentional decisions. Human decisions operate through two systems, one fast and intuitive, the other slow and deliberate. The fast system produces impressions and impulses, while the slow system monitors and sometimes overrides them. Since the fast system handles most situations, it relies on shortcuts that can misjudge risks and odds. When shortcuts dominate, people can feel confident while making errors that appear logical only at first glance. A vivid accident story can make a rare danger seem common, even when the base rate remains low. In probability puzzles, a detailed personality sketch can overpower logic and steer the mind toward a false match. These predictable errors explain why better information alone often fails to change behavior in the real world. If the environment consistently triggers the same shortcut, the same mistake will repeat, even for motivated individuals. A practical step is to notice which choices are made quickly, then ask what default or cue is driving the decision. Once that trigger is identified, redesigning the cue or default can reduce errors without demanding constant self-control. Every setting that offers options is a form of choice architecture, even when it claims to be neutral. Someone must decide the order, framing, and effort required, and these design choices steer decisions. This matters because design can influence behavior without altering what is allowed, available, or legal. When no one takes responsibility for design, outcomes still shift, but the steering becomes accidental and inconsistent. In a school cafeteria, the order of foods can change what children select, even with the same menu. A manager choosing where fruit, desserts, and drinks appear is shaping habits through convenience and attention. The broader point is that many people are choice architects, from form designers to clinicians to parents. Once this role is recognized, the goal shifts from denying influence to using it transparently for better outcomes. A simple practice is to list the choice points in a process, then test which small frictions block good decisions. When the best option is easiest to notice and take, behavior improves without lectures or heavy enforcement. Defaults work because inertia is powerful. So many people stay where they start unless pushed. A default turns a hard decision into a path of least resistance, and that path often becomes the outcome. In retirement plans, automatic enrollment can move participation from a small minority to nearly everyone quickly. Few people opt out once enrolled, which suggests the default often matches what workers wanted but postponed. One solution is requiring an active yes or no choice, removing the default that lets procrastination decide. Another is simplifying enrollment, so a single card can start saving with a pre-selected rate and allocation. A larger system called Save More Tomorrow uses commitment in advance to raise contributions when pay rises. The design avoids perceived losses, makes increases automatic, and turns inertia from an obstacle into a tool. If default rates are too low, people may stick there, so defaults must be chosen with care and feedback. Subscribe to learn how defaults and simple forms can raise follow-through while keeping every option available. A nudge changes behavior predictably while keeping all options open and without significantly altering incentives. It works by adjusting the choice architecture, such as defaults, placement, reminders, or simple framing. This approach aims to help people reach outcomes they would choose with full attention and information. The ethical claim is that steering is acceptable when it improves welfare as judged by the chooser. The liberty safeguard is ensuring it is easy to opt out so exiting remains simple. The goal is not to block choices, but to design the starting point so better choices are effortless. The cafeteria example illustrates the dilemma, as any food order can influence diets, even when no one intended it. Once influence is unavoidable, the real question becomes which arrangement makes people better off, all things considered. Good practice is to state the goal, test effects, and ensure that exit routes are obvious and require minimal effort. When a nudge feels hidden or coercive, redesign it with clearer disclosure and an easier off switch. Good nudges reduce tiny barriers that stop action, as even small hassles can derail good intentions. A form that asks for many choices can overwhelm the automatic system, causing people to refuse to choose. Quick enrollment uses a pre-selected savings rate and investment mix, allowing a person to join with just one checkmark. Participation can increase simply because the path is clearer, shorter, and less mentally taxing during orientation. Too many options can lower participation, as the decision feels confusing and people wait for later. This is why designers must balance freedom with simplicity, offering choice while preventing a maze of menus. Heuristics like availability and representativeness mean that reminders and examples can shift perceived likelihoods. When reminders point toward true probabilities instead of dramatic anecdotes, fear and confidence become closer to reality. A useful routine is running small tests, measuring dropouts and confusion, then revising the layout until action rises. Over time, these adjustments turn good intentions into repeatable behavior, as the environment carries some of the burden. Better decisions rarely require heroic willpower, as the biggest leverage comes from reshaping the choice environment. Once influence is admitted, responsibility shifts toward designing contexts that help people live longer, healthier lives. Two systems thinking explains why shortcuts appear, and why small cues can guide action in predictable directions. Choice architecture adds practical levers such as ordering, defaults, framing, and effort that shape what happens next. Defaults and automatic enrollment show how inertia can raise participation, but they also demand careful default levels. Programs like scheduled contribution increases demonstrate how commitment and timing can improve follow-through without visible pain. Liberty-preserving nudges keep opting out easy, ensuring people remain free even as the path is improved. That balance is the difference between hidden manipulation and transparent design aimed at what choosers value. Start by finding one decision that causes regret, then adjust the default, layout, or reminder to watch behavior change. Subscribe to keep learning practical nudges that respect choice while making good decisions easier to start and sustain.